Good afternoon. Whole for Wednesday, February 21st to order. My name is Andrea Jenkins, and I am the chair of this committee. With me at the dais are council members Palmisano, Johnson, Goodman, Ellison, Morsami, Schrader, Council President Bender, Council members Cunningham, Fletcher, and Gordon. And so let the record reflect that we do have a quorum. And today's agenda consists of 8 committee reports. The Economic Development and Regulatory Services Committee, chaired by Council Member Goodman.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. The Economic Development and Regulatory Services Committee is bringing 7 items forward for approval on Friday. Item number 1 are the liquor business and gambling licenses. Items 2 and 3 are license settlement conferences resulting from youth access to alcohol compliance checks. Item number 4 is a contract amendment with Hennepin County for cost sharing of our MFIP employment and training services. Item 5 is a grant to deed to help pay for healthcare career pathways strategies. Item 6 is a contract with the Minnesota High Tech Association and deed to do a survey of IT industry employers. I'll note that the High Tech Association is doing that without cost to the city. And item number 7 is a contract with the Northeast Metropolitan School District to provide youth with accreditation or credits for the step-up internships and elective summer classes they take. With that, I'm happy to answer questions in items 1 through 7.
Thank you, Councilmember Goodman. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we will hear from the Health, Environment, Civil Rights, and Engagement Committee chaired by Councilmember Cunningham.
Thank you, Madam Vice President Jenkins. The Health, Environment, Civil Rights, and Engagement Committee will be bringing forward 5 items for consideration at Friday's City Council meeting. 1 is a Southside Green Task Force appointment, approving the council appointment of Darius Gray, seat 9, Ward 9, to an unexpired 1-year term ending in August 31st, 2018. The second is a contract amendment with Riverview Windows for lead remediation work. We will be increasing the contract in the amount of $200,000 for a total not to exceed $2.3 million for lead remediation for eligible homes. Items 3 and 4 are both practicum experience for master level, students at both St. Catherine's University and the University of Minnesota for clinical hours for students. And our 5th item is a 2017 Joint Disparity Study report, and we received that, directing the City Coordinator's Office, the Procurement Division of Finance and Property Services, the Civil Rights Department, and the City Attorney's Office to research and review the results of the disparity study and return with recommendations for further action to the Health, Environment, Civil Rights, and Community Engagement Committee no later than August 31st, 2018, including but not limited to recommendations on enacting a price and evaluation preference program for prime contractors and vendors, similar to the targeted group program. I'm happy to answer any questions on these items.
Thank you, Councilmember Cunningham. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we will move to the Housing Policy and Development Committee report chaired by Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you, Vice President. The Housing Policy and Development Committee is bringing forward 8 items for consideration. The first 4 concern land sales, and actually a lot more than 4 land sales. And you can check out those addresses if you like on the agenda. One of the items deals with spending most of the money of our Minneapolis Homes program on land sales, and almost all of those, I believe, are in North Minneapolis, and there's a number of them. The 5th item is approving some reappointments to the Minneapolis Public Housing Authority. Those are 2 appointments, Faith Zhang and James Rosenbaum. 6th item is acknowledging a receptivity to a Livable Communities Act funding award. in support of the Metropolitan Council Livability Communities Local Housing Initiative account. And this will help provide grant funds to the PPL Greenbelt Homes new construction project. And the seventh item is extending exclusive development rights for Sherman Associates on the West Broadway Curve project. And the eighth item is accepting some of the Metropolitan Council Livability Communities Demonstration Account, LCDA, and Transit-Oriented Development grant awards. I can stand for questions and provide further details.
Thank you, Councilmember Gordon. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we will move to the Public Safety and Emergency Management Committee, chaired by Councilmember Cano.
Thank you, Vice President Jenkins. I'll present for Chair Cano. Public Safety and Emergency Management is bringing forward 4 items for consideration and for approval. The first one is a contract with Hennepin Technical College for training of police cadets. The second is a contract with Hennepin Healthcare System to be the sole provider of emergency medical services training programs. The third is gift acceptance of exercise equipment from Anytime Fitness for the Minneapolis Fire Department. And the fourth is accepting a report and approving the Minneapolis Police Department's recommended metrics and deadlines for quarterly reporting related to the body camera audit. I'll stand for questions.
Thank you, Councilmember. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we will then move to the Ways and Means Committee report. Chaired by Councilmember Warsame.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have 18 items to report to the full council on Friday. Items number 1 to 6 are legal settlements. Item number 7 is a contract amendment with the Center for Energy and Environment. Item number 8 is a contract amendment with Messenger Construction Company. Item number 9 is a contract with Life Tech Services for emergency medical services at the Minneapolis Convention Center. Item number 10 is an amendment to the membership agreement with the Northside Economic Opportunity Network for shared workspace at 1007 West Broadway Avenue. Item number 11 is a contract amendment with Clever Design for additional analysis and design work on the impound lot improvement project. Item number 12 is amending the settlement amount for the partial acquisition of 2547 5th Street Northeast from Acorn Mini Storage for the East Side Storage and Maintenance Facility project. Item number 13 is also acquisition of 2651 University Avenue Northeast for the East Side Storage and Maintenance Facility project. Item number 14 is a contract amendment with Wilson Development Services LLC for tenant relocation, also for the East Side Storage and Maintenance project. Item number 15 is a contract with Pi Consulting Engineering for the building enclosure commissioning services for the Consolidated Office Building project. Item number 16 is a contract with DLR Group, Inc., also for the furniture, fixtures, and equipment design consulting services for the Consolidated Office Building project. Item number 17 is an appointed position in the Neighborhood and Community Relations Department for the Director of Office of Immigrant and Refugee Affairs. And item number 18 is a 2018 Capital Long Range Improvement Committee, or CLIC, schedule, rating guidelines, and recommended net debt bond resources levels, approving the 2018 Capital Long Range Improvement Committee's schedule. And I'm happy to answer any of your questions.
Thank you, Councilmember Warsame. Are there any questions? Seeing none, and I do want to acknowledge that we were just joined by Councilmember Cano. And now we will hear from Council President Bender, Vice Chair of the Transportation and Public Works Committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We had 7 items from Transportation and Public Works. Item number 1 is authorizing an issuance of an RFP for a customized safety training and training services vendor pool. Item number 2 is approving a layout for the 12th Street Bikeway. Item number 3 is project layouts for bikeways around the University of Minnesota, including a staff direction authored by Councilmember Gordon to upgrade the physical protection of the bikeways wherever possible. And item number 4 is a contract amendment with Specialized Environmental Technologies for yard waste, street sweeping, and organics material processing services. Item number 5, staff has asked that we delete a contract amendment that came through council on Friday. I don't have details, but we could get them from staff before then. Item number 6 is an agreement with the Minnesota Department of Transportation and the Park and Recreation Board for trail, sidewalk, and signal construction for Industrial Boulevard at I-35W. And item number 7 is approving the list of routes for the Open Streets programs in 2018.
Thank you, Council President Bender. Are there any questions regarding the TPW report? Seeing none, next we will hear from the Zoning and Planning Committee chaired by Councilmember Schrader.
Thank you, Council Vice President. The Zoning and Planning Committee will be bringing forward 7 items for review to the full council. The first is a denial of appeal submitted by Don Gerberling. The second is the denial of an appeal brought forward on behalf of the East Calhoun Community Organization for a conditional use permit variance site plan review and plat appeal. The third is the approval of an application submitted by Wilder Investment Services for rezoning and an alley vacation. The fourth item is the approval of an application for rezoning. The fifth is another approval for rezoning. The sixth is also the denial of an application by A&M Mart to rezone. The seventh is the approval of an alley vacation for Minneapolis Public Schools. I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you, Councilmember Schrader. Are there any questions? Seeing none, next we will hear from Council President Bender, Vice Chair of the Executive Committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have, the Executive Committee has submitted 3 of the Mayor's Charter Department nominations to the City Council for public hearing and formal consideration, and that's the Director of Public Works, the City Assessor, and the City Attorney. And those nominations will be referred by the full Council on Friday for their public hearings at the committees. And then the public hearing on the reappointment of Robin Hutchison as the Public Works Director was set for the Transportation and Public Works Committee at its regular meeting next Tuesday, February 7th at 10 a.m. The public hearing on the reappointment of Patrick Todd as the City Assessor was set for the Ways and Means Committee at its regular meeting on Tuesday, March 6th at 1:30 p.m. And the public hearing for the reappointment of Susan Siegel as City Attorney was set for the Committee of the Whole at its next regular meeting on Wednesday, March 7th at 10 a.m. And then following those hearings, the committees would forward the recommendation for the full City Council for final action on the Mayor's nominations. And I can answer any questions. I'd also point out that these are the first 3 of the many Charter Department heads that will be coming forward from the Mayor. These are the 3 that he's nominated so far.
Thank you, Council President Bender, Vice Chair of the Executive Committee. Are there any questions? Councilmember Gordon.
I'm just curious if those public hearing dates are already posted anywhere on the city agenda. I don't even think the dates were posted on the action from, and this might be a question for the clerk, but I think the sooner those proposed dates, I understand that the city council is going to have to approve those dates, I believe, when it gets referred to us on Friday. But the sooner those can get posted, probably the better it would be for everybody.
I would ask the clerk to address that question.
Madam Chair, to Councilmember Gordon's point, the reason we announced those today is so that we would provide the first notice to the public that those are going to those various committees in the next cycle. At the meeting on Friday, the City Council's agenda will reflect the same information. That information will be posted through our public notice process, which will be published, and also on the agendas for each of those various committees as they come forward in the next few days before. So by the end of this week, we should have the first meeting agendas for next cycle posted. So all of that information will be out before the end of this week.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Are there any other questions? Councilmember Palmisano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did just want to point out, I only a minute before this committee started had an opportunity to speak to the council president about this, but I think there's some discrepancy as to where the city attorney's hearing should be had, because in prior official documents, it specifically says that the appointments for city coordinator and city attorney would go to the enterprise committee. So I would just like to mention that out loud, because on Friday, it might make sense to actually put that in the Enterprise Committee. And I believe that hearing would then be at the next Enterprise Committee meeting instead. But that is at your discretion. But I just wanted to point out that there seems to be some disconnect as to how it's been previously posted, that the Charter Department nominations for city coordinator and city attorney specifically go to the Enterprise Committee in the document that was sent out pursuant to our organizational meeting. And so I just want to ask my colleagues to keep an open mind about that. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Palmisano. Councilmember Bender.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I just wanted to respond to that question, I guess, was I believed that the clerk's office was communicating with the mayor's office and myself during the executive committee agenda setting and then with the various chairs. I think the decision to move the city attorney's hearing to the committee of the whole instead of the 6-member enterprise committee was just the level of reach that the city attorney's office has and the level of interest from many members of the council. So certainly council members could just go attend the enterprise committee meeting. I think also it had to do with the cycles of the calendar and just the need and interest in getting our department heads approved that the next COW meeting was in 2 weeks. So those are just, there was no intention to do anything other than increase participation from council members to allow for the full council to be present at that public hearing. So that was why that was done.
Thank you, Council President Bender. Are there any other questions? Any other questions? Seeing none, I want to thank you all, and this completes our agenda. And seeing no further business presented at this time, we are adjourned.